Welcome, Sunday morning, the world's best fantasy show with Tarbill, with DaMouse. We're here on a special edition today of a fantasy program on the 1252 Sports Network. We're going to do a draft later, I hear, right, guys?
Absolutely. We've got it all set, so it'll be interactive. We'll have the screen up on display for everybody that's viewing to see our picks live as we go through it. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, let me tell you, I'm only in one league, not like DaMouse. I'm in one league, and the draft was last night. First and foremost, stupid, stupid, stupid. We've got 3 more weeks of the stupidest thing on earth, preseason football. You know, they protect the stars, yet all the other guys play all the time. And I mean, you saw Trevor Lawrence, 2 sets? Zach Wilson, 2 sets? Come on, guys. You know, NFL, get it right. But whatever, I did it. I hated draft this early. I hate it. And then what's more surprising is I hate my team more than anything in the world. I don't even want to play. I don't even want to play. I hate my team. I took Saquon Barkley by accident. And you know what I hate more than anything? We pretend to be experts. The only experts we are is after the fact. It's the only expert we are is after the fact. If Saquon Barkley is healthy and comes in, the guy's a stud, obviously. But with so long to go in the preseason, I just don't like it. I mean, thoughts on an early draft, guys?
I don't really mind drafting early because some guys you can pick up great values on. I mean, some leagues you have to do it. Not everybody can get on the same schedule. It's more ideal to do it before the season starts, but If you're going to set up a draft for whenever, I'll be there to do the draft.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the early draft personally. I think that there's too many unknown variables, especially at this point. Excuse me. You look at a guy like Michael Thomas, for instance, and we don't know what team he's going to be on. So how can you go after him this early?
Deshaun Watson was drafted in my draft last night.
And he's not even going to see a snap this season.
He will not. He might never see a snap again. I know we were talking off air, and Tyler had talked about the fact he might be good in the keeper league for down the line. I think he's out of football permanently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's large potential there for sure.
With something like that in a keeper league, though, if you get him super late as a late round and possibly as a late round keeper, I mean, it's worth the shot on it. It's no risk. It's a free draft slot for potentially a top 5 quarterback for years to come.
To me, when you look at it, I don't know how you can judge anything in preseason the way they're doing preseason right now. Mm-hmm. You've read, I'm sure, and you've seen so many stars, including DaMouse's Aaron Rodgers, ain't going to play in preseason at all. Mm-hmm. The Chargers have announced that Justin Herbert won't play in preseason at all. So now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That I was just going to say that's a little crazy to me that they've announced he won't play at all, because you would think that you want to get that guy some reps, at least, even if it's just handing the ball off, to get fluid and be out there on the field. There's so much value in that. Even if you're only taking a few snaps, 1 or 2 series, it's especially for a guy that's only going into his second year. I find that very odd that they wouldn't at least give him some snaps.
Exactly. Yet they're charging all these people. And by the way, let's go to my ex-hometown where you guys are right now in Chicago. How come they call in the COVID generation Barack Obama having a party with 200 people, a super spreader event, and yet Soldier Field yesterday was filled to the brim, and
over
not
60,000
one person wearing a mask?
Over 60,000 people yesterday.
And not one person in the stand wearing a mask. I mean, I just don't get it. With everything else, I think maybe I have COVID and my fantasy mind is being played with by the gods of fantasy because I don't understand what's going on here. And as long as I'm talking about it, I want your both opinions about, because we are Chicago-centric. Justin Fields. Give him the starting job right now.
I agree 100%. I think yesterday we saw a lot of good things. There were some top players in on Miami's defensive side of the ball, and he was performing well. Obviously, the latter touchdown that he had was against some scrub defensive players, and the tight end was wide open. But just to see the kid use his legs, and we all knew Justin Fields was fast, but I tell you what, when you see that acceleration game time, you see how quickly he can speed up and get to full speed. And, he had one rush there that was over 10 yards that was just beautiful to see him accelerate. The vision, he knew right when he made his reads, nothing was open, and he made a play with his legs. That's something that we haven't seen out of a quarterback in Chicago. Yes, Mitchell Trubisky used his legs a little bit, but he is so much faster and so much more athletic. I don't even want to compare him to Mitchell Trubisky, but just the things that we saw yesterday, he was 14 of 20, I believe 145 yards. It was a great performance for Fields. Started off a little rocky. He had a couple 3-and-out series, but then he came out right before the half, gave Cairo Santos the chance to kick a 53-yarder, which he did. That's another guy, Cairo Santos. I'm really, really high on him as a kicker. I think he was tremendous last year, and I think he's going to continue to be good for the Bears. But back to Justin Fields, I just think that there was so much upside with what we saw. You don't gain anything by starting a guy like Andy Dalton, in my opinion. Let the kid get out there. Let him learn through the pains. I mean, he's going to make some dumb rookie mistakes. they all do. But at the end of the day, if he gives you the best chance to win, which I think he does, there's no reason he's not your starter week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't really watch the game, but I watched a bunch of highlights of him, and he looked good out there. Honestly, he looked better than Jordan Love did last night for the Packers. And I mean, if I was a Bears fan, I would be ecstatic about having Justin Fields as my future.
I'd be so excited. One of the coolest things, I don't know if you didn't watch the game, Tyler, one of the coolest things yesterday in the game was right before Fields went in for the first time, Andy Dalton comes in, and he's the one to tell him he's going in. And, I thought that was, Dalton's a pro. He knows he's on the downside of his career. Guy's probably worth $100 million anyways. And, the guy had a pretty good career with a bad team with the Bengals. Yeah. And has any of the papers today in Chicago changed the name of Soldier Field to Soldier Fields?
I have not seen that yet, but I tell you, yesterday after the game was over, Twitter was just ecstatic about Fields. I mean, all of the major Chicago media outlets were posting about him. LeBron James even came out and said,
right,
this kid's an outstanding athlete. Keep doing what you're doing. I think he called him Young King or something to that effect. It's an exciting.
Well, that's the Ohio connection.
Yes, and it's an exciting time to be a Bears fan, right? We have never had a quarterback of this caliber in the city of Chicago ever. So I'm excited. I'm happy to see what the future is going to bring, but I also don't want to see us go out and go 0-3, 0-4, and then put the kid into a bad situation.
Exactly. Let's go on the other side and talk about what Tyler just said. Let's look for a second. What if Jordan Love would have been unbelievable in his first preseason? And by the way, this is his second year already.
Right.
Yeah, so he made his debut, or his NFL debut, yesterday. He had one drive where he looked great, where he capped it off with a touchdown to Kylan Hill. But the other drives, he didn't impress me very much. I mean, his ending stats didn't look too bad for his NFL debut. Maybe I'm just being too rough on him because I love Aaron Rodgers and I don't want to see him go. But, I mean, he didn't impress me too much, but you got to take it with a grain of salt because it's his pro debut.
Well, and I will say this in that regard, Tyler. The Packers have had 2 Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks in a row. What is the probability that Jordan Love is a future Hall of Fame quarterback? Slim to none.
Very low, yeah.
Well, remember one thing. Rodgers sat behind Favre? 3 years or 4?
Yeah, I think it was 3 in this fourth year. 4th year when he took over.
Think about that. Think about how long he's been the ultimate stud, Rodgers, and he sat for over 3 years behind arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, Brett Favre. And but I just don't see it with this Jordan Love. I didn't understand it when the Packers did it. And now I just don't understand it all. But it comes back down to preseason. What did you guys think of it? Did you see Zach Wilson of the Jets? The kid looked pretty good.
Yeah, I saw some highlights. He did look pretty good. I mean, he's on the Jets, right? So that in itself takes away – you're on an organization that's almost, one would say, like a laughing stock of the NFL in a way. I mean, the Jets organization has just been terrible for so long that, to see a kid go out there and have some bright spots, it's got to be somewhat enticing for Jets fans, but – You're only as good as the weapons that you have around you, and I think that's going to be his problem here in his rookie season.
Well, hell, at least on the bright side for Zach Wilson, he doesn't have Adam Gase around him to mess everything up anymore.
Yes, not an Adam Gase fan at all. So
that dude is terrible. Anytime I can take a shot at him, I will.
We're going to take a quick break, but Tyler and Andrew are going to be in charge of this. I'll probably screw it up somehow, but we're going to do how many rounds, guys? 13?
It is 13 for our mock. I removed kickers and defenses because if we're doing a mock draft, it's not really a point to toss them in there, and we could speed it up a little bit.
So we're going to do it how we're going to do a mock draft. You're going to see it. Two geniuses are on here, Tarbill and DaMouse. And then there's me, who I'll probably hate my mock draft today with you guys. I mean, it just gets me crazy. So we'll talk more about preseason. We'll talk more about stars to watch. And how much time do you think we need, Tyler, to do our mock?
Probably about a half hour. We'll probably rock it out in a half hour.
So we're going to take a quick break right now on 1252 Sports Entertainment Network, world's best fantasy show. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
And we're back.
We're back. Hey, let me recommend to all of our listeners and viewers, my league is on the app called Sleeper, which I think is the best app. I used to play all the time on ESPN and or Yahoo. I think Sleeper is the best app for fantasy I've ever done.
Yeah.
Tyler, you?
I love Sleeper. So I run all my redraft leagues on Yahoo, but all my dynasty leagues I run on Sleeper. And there's only one feature missing from Sleeper that if they added, every one of my leagues is going to Sleeper. I need them to add
what would that be, you teaseaholic?
Rankings. So Yahoo, you have a like it keeps track on your profile, your rating and stuff like that based on how good you do in your leagues. And I like keeping track of all that, but if Sleeper ever added anything like that, I would be moving everything to Sleeper.
And I've never used Sleeper for fantasy league, so I'm going to have to try to get in a league that someone runs on Sleeper so I can get familiar with the interface.
So Sleeper is not our sponsor, but I'm going to plug them a little bit. If you move a league to Sleeper right now, Sleeper will pay an extra $100 to your league pot to the winner.
Really?
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, if you move a league from ESPN or Yahoo to Sleeper, they will pay an extra $100 to your pot.
It really, the information they give you pre and post with the rankings and everything else, separate listing for rookies, I really, really enjoyed it. I got stuck taking, I thought there were so many good quarterbacks that I got stuck. I waited. And boom, obviously there goes Mahomes. Boom, there goes, Kyler Murray, which I think went way too high. I took Matthew Stafford. What do you guys think?
I don't mind Matty Ice. He's got the best weapons around him collectively that he's ever had. I mean, I know he had Calvin Johnson in Detroit, but just the total amount of weapons he has around him now, it's the best supporting cast he's had, and I think he put probably one of the best seasons of his career.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a make or break type year. Obviously, as Tyler said, he's got a bunch of weapons around him, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. I think that's a solid pick for where you got him. We do have a question here in the chat from Jeff. Is Big Ben a QB1? How do you guys feel about Big Ben?
Noodle arm.
Noodle arm?
Okay, we had 18 quarterbacks drafted in a 12-man league.
Mhm.
Roethlisberger was nowhere close to being drafted.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
just think, it's going to be interesting there because here I'm going to talk the opposite for a second. Dwayne Haskins did himself a big favor by having a great preseason game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
He looked
mean,
a
and I
million
think,
times better than Mason Rudolph.
right, I think Dwayne Haskins might still have a career in the NFL right now.
Mhm.
Uh, I would stay away from Big Ben. There's only one guy on the Steelers I would really want, and that's Najee Harris. And I wanted him, but of course I didn't get him. I
You
got
don't like
J.K.
Deontay
Dobbins.
Johnson?
Huh?
You don't like
He's good,
Deontay
but
Johnson at all?
he was drafted, but I wouldn't take him because I know who's throwing it to him.
Fair enough.
I have not been a fan of Ben in a long time.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's an interesting thing we were talking about, and we'll see it in our mock draft. After about the third or fourth round, depending how many people are in your fantasy league, it drops off the face of the earth. It's
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely amazing how fast this year, which is going to make this season a little bit more challenging for fantasy players, but it drops off so much. And then you have to wonder about running backs with new quarterbacks.
Mhm.
Right.
That is something that you have to wonder about. I mean, Tyreek Hill was the number one receiver taken. I don't know if I necessarily, in my league last night, I don't know necessarily if I call Tyreek Hill the number one wide receiver.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's split
Watch me
between
take him in our
everybody.
mock draft. Huh?
It's split between everybody. It's like Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Stephon Diggs. Occasionally, will jump the two, but it's a mix of those three guys.
So a couple
Stephon Diggs
questions.
dropped to our third round.
Who did?
Everybody talked when he went, everybody was shocked. He dropped to round number 3. He was the 6th wide receiver drafted.
Who was that?
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Oh man, whoever got him in the third round got a steal.
Yeah. It bugged the crap out of me because but I like my wide receiver. One more question, then I think, do you guys want to go into the draft?
Well,
Yeah.
Tarbill was saying that we have a couple questions in the chat right now.
Yeah, we have
okay.
a couple questions in the chat here. The first is, how far has Juju Smith-Schuster dropped? What are your guys' thoughts on Juju right now? Would
He's a good
you go
dancer.
after him?
He's a good dancer, and in my league, still available, didn't get drafted.
Okay.
Juju didn't get drafted.
No,
Huh.
but you know what? Here we go again, talking about Deontay Johnson. You got the element of that offense on the Steelers this year is going to be really weird. Let's face it, Juju was going to go somewhere else, but he realized nobody else wanted him. If you go back to the end of last year and everything, Juju was not going to be a Steeler this year. The guy's nuts in the head. He posts Instagram stuff during the game and everything else, dances on logos. No, he wasn't touched in our league.
Yeah, Juju
And
last year finished as wide receiver 17. He doesn't have the upside he showed early in his career with Antonio Brown on the outside, but if you can get him in like the 6th, 7th round, he's a nice floor play. You can plug in your flex. I mean, I don't mind Juju at the right cost. I'm not going to pay up to get him, but I don't mind taking Juju as a nice little floor play. You know what you're going to get from him.
Right. And then
who do you put him in? Who do you put him in the category? Who's comparable to Juju Schuster?
I'd say he's more of. I mean, he's not the same type of player, but I'd compare him to like what Edelman was for the Patriots, where he's going to soak up the receptions over the middle of the field. He's a lot better in a PPR league. He's not going to put up the yards, but he can still get 7-8 receptions a game, probably 50 yards. And in a PPR league, that's a nice little floor for you in your flex spot.
Yeah.
And then the second question we had was, Space, do you not like Big Ben because he doesn't get you any rushing yards?
You know what? I don't like Big Ben because what he treated to women many years ago. In all seriousness, he doesn't get. This is going to be the last year you don't see Big Ben. He's not going to last the season. I don't think. Ben should have hung it up. And yes,
Okay.
I wish, I took two quarterbacks. Stafford was the first quarterback I took, and then I took Matt Ryan. I'm not getting any yards rushing from either of them.
No.
It's as easy as that. Like I said earlier, I waited way too long to take my first quarterback because I got cocky looking at the list thinking there's good quarterbacks there. I mean, but when you talk about quarterbacks, has Kyler Murray proven himself that he should be the third quarterback taken?
I mean, go ahead, Tarbill.
I don't know that he has. I mean, I do think that he has a little bit of that rush ability to where you might get some yards from him that way, but I'm not sold on Kyler Murray. I think I need to see a little bit more from him before I'd want to draft him personally, but to each their own. I mean, Tyler, what do you think?
So Kyler Murray through his first 2 years, his rookie year, he finished as QB6 overall. And then last year, he finished as QB3 overall. So right now, he's being drafted where he finished last year. And it's all
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league, but fantasy, like we've talked about previous weeks, quarterbacks that have a rushing floor, they're a cheat code. He can go out there and have a terrible game, but he can toss on 50 rushing yards for you, and there's 5 extra points you're getting that you're not getting from guys like Matt Ryan, Big Ben, Tom Brady, guys like that.
What's amazing, even watching, doing this last night, there's an old comedian in the old days, Rodney Dangerfield, who always used the line, I get no respect. I get no respect. I get no respect. You know who doesn't get any respect in any of these drafts and is a stud to me? Ryan Tannehill.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to take him so bad, but somebody took him before me. Look at his 3 weapons to protect him. Henry in the backfield, and look at that wide receiving core. And I mean, I had him listed. I had him as my third quarterback. I think this is going to be an unbelievable year for Tannehill.
So since Tannehill has taken over the starting job for the Titans a couple years ago when he took over for Mariota, I believe he's quarterback 3 over that time span.
Yeah, and I have him listed as 3. I mean, getting to go along with A.J. Brown, my number 1 receiver. I mean, the guy's a stud. The team's a stud. They're going to surprise some people this year, the Titans.
Oh, absolutely. Derrick Henry's a monster. I mean, that guy alone can help carry your team. So, be interesting to see what Tannehill does.
Do we want to jump into
one more question, and then let's do our draft because it's my ego talking. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. What do you think?
Like, what do you mean? What do we think?
What do you think? I mean, do you think Jamar Chase, and it's almost as if Jamar Chase isn't a rookie because he's played with Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I love that combination. I'm saying that because I have Jamar Chase. Make me feel good about my goddamn draft.
So I like Jamar Chase as the talent, but for fantasy this year, you got to think the last time he played professional football, or not professional, played football at a high level was 2019. He sat out last year due to COVID concerns.
Right.
And Burrow's coming back from an injury. I just think he's going way too early right now. He's going in the 5th round. Right now you have to take him at his ceiling. I don't think he outproduces his ADP. And if he doesn't outproduce his ADP, you're going to be upset with that pick come week 6 when you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
I would. You just bummed me out. I'm going to blow my brains out. Okay, I do have to mention one more person. Everything I've been reading, et cetera, is look out this season for Antonio Brown on the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think the guy has been a stud, and I think he'll be the number 2 receiver to Mike Evans, and I think he'll pass Godwin, whatever it is.
I would agree with that. I think he has tremendous upside if you can get him at the right time. I mean, the guy was the number 1 receiver in a lot of leagues for so many years.
Yeah.
Obviously, when he was with Pittsburgh, but I'm interested to see what he does. I mean, Tom Brady will get the ball to him, that's for sure, and he'll get his points. So, if you can get him at the right spot, I'd absolutely take Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown is one of my favorite late round targets. I love him. Brady peppered him with targets towards the end of last year. Once he came along, he had 2 games under 10 fantasy points in a PPR league last year.
I mean, when Brady likes you, look out.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
We're on the Bucks. Would you take Fournette or Ronald Jones?
Neither.
Who's the starting running back there?
I don't think it matters. I think they're going to be passing a lot, and they still have Gio Bernard. It's a 3-headed monster. They're all going to be splitting. I don't think outside of somebody getting hurt, any of them are going to really help you at all.
I would
While
agree
we're
with
on
that.
the Bucks. Yeah. Why we're on the Bucks? What about a guy who didn't play last year? And we know Brady loves his tight ends. What about O.J. Howard?
He was a great talent. I mean, I just think there's way too many mouths to feed in that offense to where a tight end 2 is going to be valuable for them. I mean, I think in reality they should have traded him.
Are you calling Gronk tight end 1?
He was their tight end 1 last year.
Okay, I'm just asking if you're calling him this year.
Well,
it'll be interesting
for the Bucks. For the Bucks, not overall tight end 1, but
no,
I
know what you're saying,
Bucks.
but if OJ was there last year, the guy is a stud player.
Yeah, he's very efficient with the targets he does get.
Yep. We got one question in the chat here, guys, that I want to cover before we move on.
Okay.
In a 12-team standard scoring league, playing with 3 wide receivers, where do you have Kenny Golladay ranked? Is he worth taking in the 2nd round, or is that way too early?
Yeah, so I like Kenny G a lot. His injury concerns me because he's still shut down for a couple more weeks with the Daniel Jones-led offense. If he wasn't hurt, I'd be happier to take him. But the 2nd round for Kenny G is way too early. I think his ADP right now is in like the 6th round.
Okay.
And we were talking about, I was in a 12-man draft last night, and Kenny went in the 7th round.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the uncertainty about Saquon Barkley, and it's Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to talk about a league that somebody's drafting Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
No, Daniel Jones is on a make-or-break year this coming season, right. I think, and even then, he's unproven. He doesn't have the talent there to even be taken in any draft, and it makes you have a big question mark when you look at a guy like Kenny Golladay. Yes, he's terrific, but who's throwing him the ball at the end of the day?
Yeah. So now, go ahead.
Go ahead, DaMouse.
All right. I was just gonna say right now, Kenny Golladay is the 25th wide receiver off the board, and he is pick 60 in ADP. So that is the last pick of the 5th round.
Yeah. I mean,
so, 2nd round, I think it's just a little early.
Are the Giants going to be the Giants all over again? Excuse me. You know who's going to have a big year? And I wanted him so bad. I think Robbie Anderson of the Panthers. I think I love him as a wide receiver, and I think he matches so well with Darnold when they both play for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Just my thought. But don't forget,
I like
hate
Robbie.
my team. I hate my team. Do we want to, Tarbill? What do you want to do?
Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we can go ahead and get into the draft. Does that sound good to you guys?
You got it, guys. We'll be right
Sounds
back
like a
with
plan.
Who's got the first pick in our draft.
It'll be randomized right when we come back.
So to be determined.
I think it should be. We'll be right back on World's Best Fantasy Show.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
And just like
welcome
that,
back,
and just like that, we are back.
And now we've got a special treat for everybody. Probably not for me, because I know I'll have a way to screw this up. Don't forget, guys, I used to do manual drafts before there were computers. Now I'm going way back when. So I'm going to throw it to you guys and tell me, and I hope I don't screw it up, but we're going to do a live on-air mock draft.
Yep.
So,
all right, so go
real
ahead,
quick,
Tarbill.
before we get into that space, I know you said you were doing drafts before there was apps and things like that. You got into fantasy in what, 92?
Yeah, that's when I started.
You got into fantasy a year before I was born. So you've been doing it a long time.
And I won twice in 29 years. And I think one of them was by accident. So, I mean, I love this sport. I just love watching football, but nobody, you youngsters, do 1 year. If you're in a league with 8-9 guys, do a live draft, sit around the draft table. It was the most fun in the world. My brother-in-law used to be the commissioner of the league, and he would buy, he would have football cards. So if you drafted Emmitt Smith, you go up to the podium where the commissioner is, and he gives you an Emmitt Smith's card. It was just
nice.
Awesome.
It was fun, and people communicated instead of just doing the online stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
Right. Go ahead, Tyler. You were going to say something before we get into
All
the
right.
draft.
So yeah, just with this mock, it's a standard 12-team league. This is going to be a full point PPR with a standard Yahoo starting roster. So it'll be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, a flex, and then I did take off the kicker and defense, but those would be on there as well.
It's amazing. I once had a guy who worked for me at the Score, and he asked me to be in his fantasy league because he had a spot open. It was a league that didn't allow kickers because he hated kickers. They're not football players. What?
Really?
They win more games than anybody else on the team. I mean, I love kickers, especially when I have Tucker for the Ravens. I'm very happy.
Real quick, guys, before we get into it, one last question here in the chat. Space, who was the first player that you ever drafted? Roger Craig or someone like that?
Oh, my God. Okay, going back then, one of my favorite players was I'm trying to remember my favorite player of all time, I think back then, not counting Emmitt Smith, who was my god, Christian Okoye. This guy, who was the guy? I remember John Riggins was the first guy I ever took for the Washington Redskins. He might have 3 carries a game. He might have 3 carries a game, 3 yards, but all 3 would be 1-yard touchdowns.
All right.
I mean,
All right.
it was different. It was different back then, and it was, when you look at the history of the NFL, it's phenomenal. My favorite all-time player was Emmitt Smith, but I think John Riggins was the first one I ever took.
Very interesting. All right, are we ready to go ahead and get into this draft, gentlemen?
Yeah, go ahead and
Okay,
throw
and if
the
I screw
screen.
up if I screw it up, the two of you can do the draft by yourself.
Oh yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead and throw it up on the screen, and I'll hit start draft and randomize our order.
All right, we should be good to go.
There we go. Start draft. What's it doing? Start draft. Oh, here we go. Coming up right now. All right, draft board. We have Tarbill is picking in the 4 spot. Space is picking in the 10 spot, and I am picking in the 12 spot.
All right.
So now we are ready to go. Mock draft starts in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. First pick off the board was Christian McCaffrey, then Dalvin Cook, then Derrick Henry. And Tarbill is now on the clock.
I hate to do it, guys, because of the uncertainty at quarterback, but I am going to go with Kamara here.
This is a nice pick. All right, going to space after Kamara, we had Eckler, Zeke, Saquon Barkley, Travis Kelce, and Devontae Adams. Space is now on the clock.
You know what? I'm going to go with a Packer, and I hate it. I'm going to take Aaron Jones. And why is it not letting me?
You got to hit the draft button.
Yeah, I know. I'm hitting it, but it's not active. Hold on. Let me try it on here. Here we go. I got it.
Cool.
There we go.
All right. So following space is picked with Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, and I am on the clock now with the double bubble. So looks like most of the running backs that I would like to fall to me are gone now. So I'm probably going to go with Tyreek Hill, and then I'm going to follow that up with I'm gonna take Jonathan Taylor right after that. I like Jonathan Taylor now that there's more certainty around what's going on with Carson Wentz.
Okay.
Isn't it amazing? Can I stop you a second and say, isn't it amazing the hyperactivity around Carson Wentz? He was going to be out 5 to 12 weeks. Now he's going to play. Did everybody forget he really stunk the last couple of years?
I think they may have.
I mean, I'm being serious, and I want him to succeed. I love the Colts. I love Jonathan Taylor. I love the wideouts on the Colts. But my God, does everybody remember how bad Carson Wentz is and was?
I think people are expecting better things from him because he's being paired back up with Frank Reich again, and the Colts do have one of the best offensive lines in the league. There's an update on Quentin Nelson too that he should be back in time for the season to start as well.
That's what I was just gonna say. Quentin Nelson is an absolute monster. So
yes.
I believe you're on the clock now, Space.
Yep.
I'm on the
Diggs
clock?
went right after. Diggs went right after me. Tarbill, on your screen, if you want to hit the draft board, you could pull up the draft board so everybody viewing will be able to see it as well.
Okay.
All right. Space, he took Hopkins, and then following that went Najee Harris right after, DK Metcalf, Joe Mixon, Gibson, Mahomes, and then Tarbill is on the clock.
Oof. This is a tough one. In this position, we've got Calvin Ridley available, but I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go Justin Jefferson.
Ooh.
And it looks like I'm on the clock again, so...
Yeah, so following your Jefferson pick, it went Calvin Ridley, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, A.J. Brown, then the two tight ends after Kelsey went, Kittle and Waller, Keenan Allen, and then you're back on the clock. Where are you going here? I think we could already guess.
Yeah, the homer in me is going to come out a little bit on this one, but as my second
It's
receiver,
okay. The guy's great.
I've got to take Allen Robinson. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's going to be electric with Justin Fields throwing him the ball.
And the guy's great. No problem.
All right.
My turn?
So following that Allen Robinson pick, we went Scary Terry, J.K. Dobbins, C.D. Lamb, Josh Allen, and David Montgomery.
Hey, I need a second running back, and I'm going to hope that Jared Goff finds some backfield help with DeAndre Swift. Already, I hate my draft. Already, you guys made me. Last night, I hated my draft. Today, I hate my draft.
So following DeAndre Swift, Team 11 took Julio Jones. I am now on the clock with a double bubble. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go Robert Woods. I love Robert Woods. He's about as safe as you can get at wide receiver. You know what you're going to get from him. And especially with Matthew Stafford coming to town now, I think he's got more upside than he did with Jared Goff. So I'm going to take that pick. And then there's a couple guys here I like. I like Chris Godwin a lot. Mike Evans, he's only put up 1,000 yards receiving every year of his career. DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson. I like all those guys. I think I'm going to go with my guy, Deontay Johnson.
I love his quarterback.
So after
Dwayne
Deontay Johnson went, and then Josh Jacobs, and Space is back on the clock.
And now it's me, and I'm going to go somebody that I said, but in the fourth round, I'm not going to let Murray go.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a nice value pick.
So after Murray, we had Amari Cooper go, then Mike Evans, Lamar Jackson, Chris Godwin, and Chris Carson. Now I am back on the clock, and I do need another running back here, although I haven't taken a tight end yet either. So kind of stuck here between a rock and a hard place. I don't know that Miles Sanders could have terrific upside, but again, you're in Philly and they're more of a running back by committee style system. Right. I'm gonna roll the dice, and I'm gonna go with TJ Hawkinson here.
Good
TJ.
player.
I like
Underrated,
TJ Hawkinson.
But in most cheat sheets, he's the number 4 or 5 tight end.
Jared Goff's got to throw the ball to somebody.
Right.
Yep.
So after my pick there, DJ Moore went, Kyle Pitts, Mike Davis, Juju Smith-Schuster. So there's the answer to our question earlier. He was picked 49 by Team 1.
Right.
Tyler Lockett, and then Mark Andrews for Baltimore. And I am back on the clock again. So Miles Sanders is still here, which is a little bit interesting to me. Darrell Henderson is there. And Cooper Kupp is still on the board, which actually does surprise me at this point. I think he's going to get a lot of yards out of Matthew Stafford. So I think I'm going to have to lock in my third wide receiver and take a chance here with Cooper Kupp.
All right, Space is on the clock. Leading up to Space after that Cooper Kupp pick was Adam Thielen, Dak Prescott, Brandon Ayuk, Miles Sanders finally went at 5'8", and then Kenny G. There's your answer for the Kenny G question as well. He went 5'9".
Yeah, and here I'm going to take right now a guy I think is going to have a huge year because I think the Browns have a chance to get to the Super Bowl, and I'm going with OBJ. I just think he's too valuable, and I'll take him as my second wide receiver.
All right. Following OBG, Aaron Rodgers went at 5'11". I'm back on the clock with the double bubble.
Are
So
you
looking
upset about that, Tyler?
No, I'm not. I'm not. As much as I'd like to have him on my team, I don't want to pay that price.
Understood.
So, looking here at my team, I got Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson. So I got my wide receiver spots and my flex filled. Still looking for a running back and tight end. Right here, I think I'm going to go with Darrell Henderson. He'll be the lead guy in LA for now until somebody possibly takes it over from him. But to start the season, I like him as my running back 2. And then I think I'm going to follow that up with Travis Etienne as my RB3. I
think he's a good ball player.
Oh, yeah, especially with them working him out of the slot a lot. And with us being a full PPR league in this mock, I like what he can do this year.
And following that pick, Jamar Chase for Cincinnati went to Team 11.
My guy.
And you are on the clock, Space.
Okay, let me see. I really would love to find a quality tight end here. I don't like not having a good tight end, but there's really here's a guy I just talked about, bragged about. Maybe I'll do it, even though it's not a tight end. I'm going Robbie
Anderson. Following that pick, Justin Herbert went, then T. Higgins from Cincinnati, Chase Claypool, Cortland Sutton, and Devonta Smith from Philly. I am back on the clock now. And I still need to pick up another running back. I see Kareem Hunt's on the board, and I see a name that Tyler's intrigued me on here in Myles Gaskin. So I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to take a shot with Myles Gaskin as my RB2.
It's a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it looks like...
Yeah. Following Myles Gaskin, we had Russell Wilson off the board, Michael Thomas by Team 2. You just lit that pick up on fire. Jerry Jeudy, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, and then Kareem Hunt.
Okay, and I am back on the clock here. So I've got my 2 running backs. I've got my 3 wide receivers. I've got a tight end. What else is available here?
If you hit cheat sheets at the top, you can pull up all the players. And then just hit high drafted, and then it'll show you all the guys available.
Very nice. I like that. Interesting to me that we go all the way through this list. Justin Fields is considered a tier 4 QB. Obviously, he's unproven, but I think sooner rather than later, you could get a lot of points out of a guy like that. I'm not going to drop and do that. I'm going to take Ryan Tannehill in this spot.
I wonder if you heard somebody on a World's Best Fantasy show talking about Ryan Tannehill.
Maybe I did.
Well, I need a tight. My turn. Yep, I need a tight end, and this is the 3rd guy on my list. 4th guy, excuse me. I'm taking Neil Font.
Okay.
All
right. So
from the
following
Broncos,
the
I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. I was just gonna recap the picks there. So following the Tannehill pick, we had DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd, Will Fuller, James Robinson, Debo. Space took Noah Fant, and then Laviska Shenault was the pick after him. What were you saying about Fant, though, Space?
No, I think Fant is going to be a stud this year. I think Denver is going to surprise people, and I think they've got so many good positional players on the offense. Their defense, we know, is great. I like Font, and I like Luck.
So back to me, back on the clock. So I got my running back spots filled up, my wide receiver spots, my flex. So when I'm doing my drafts, I like to load up on running backs lots of people get very angry in the leagues I'm in that I will just take a ton of running backs. I'll leave the draft with 7, 8 running backs and figure the rest out with bye weeks and stuff. So right here, I think I'm going to go Chase Edmonds, and then I'm going to follow it right back up with Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams ends up taking the lead rusher role from Melvin Gordon in Denver.
Okay, and after your Javonte Williams pick, Team 11 took Brandon Cooks, and now Space is back on the clock.
I've always been a fan of this guy, even though the 49ers confuse me, but I also like to load up on running backs. And I'm going to the Bay, and I'm going to take Mostert.
All right.
Okay, I like the pick there.
I really like him, and if he can stay healthy, and we should never use the word if he can stay healthy. Why would you draft a guy if he wasn't going to stay healthy? So that's who I'm going to go with.
So after Mostert, Michael Carter, Trey Sermon, Jarvis Landry, Antonio Brown. So there's your Antonio Brown pick. Pick number 91 by Team 6. Mike Williams from Los Angeles Chargers, and now I am back on the clock. So this is where it gets interesting for me.
Yep.
I've got a guy like Melvin Gordon available, and he may be able to get some points, but I'm not so sure I want to throw my stake in him. Curtis Samuel's there. Obviously, he's injured, so he'd be rolling the dice there. Damian Harris for New England is still available. I am almost stuck here, guys. I'm not sure where I want to go, if I'm being completely honest. I'm going to roll the dice here, and I'm going to go after Michael Gallup.
All right.
Whoa. If I'm correct, let me see here. Hold on. I need to go into my cheat sheet here. If this guy's still available, I don't think so.
So after the Gallup pick by me, Leonard Fournette went, Michael Pittman went, Melvin Gordon, David Johnson, Zach Moss, and Damian Harris, which puts me back on the clock.
Do you see what I was talking about, guys? Look at how after about the 5th round, all this changed. You could go on an auto draft almost.
Oh, absolutely. With this pick, I see Ronald Jones is available. I'm hesitant to take him because I don't think Tampa's going to be running the ball a lot. James Conner's out there. I did like his production when he was in Pittsburgh.
Not last year.
Lots of health concerns.
Yeah, a lot of health concerns there. I don't know where I want to go here, guys. Honestly, it's as you said, Space, after about the 5th round, the talent just tapers off so much.
I'm telling you, and that's either going to be good for a fantasy season or really bad. I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen it in 20-some years be it so top-heavy and nothing else below.
Tyler, is this draft 2 tight ends or 1?
1.
Okay. I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, and I guess I'll go with Ronald Jones.
Yeah. Right. You didn't have any alternative almost.
Right.
So following Ronald Jones, we have Curtis Samuel from the football team, and Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, James Conner, and then Marquise Brown. And Space is now on the clock with pick 9-10.
Okay, hold on, gentlemen. Let me see here. Boy, oh boy, this becomes, you know what? Protect against that Zach Moss thing. I've had this guy before, and he's always let me down. But is this the year Singletary lives up to being a top-flight running back? So I'll take Devin Singletary.
All right. Following Singletary, we had Mecole Hardman, bringing it back to me on the double bubble. So I'm still sitting without a quarterback or tight end. my favorite quarterback pick is still on the board with Jalen Hurts, but I just scoured the draft board real quick, and I realized every single team has a quarterback. So I am the last team left to take a quarterback. So I'm going to roll the dice and hope he makes it back to me on my next two picks. And if not, I can find somebody else. But I think right here I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert. Fill my tight end spot. I like Dallas Goedert. The only thing that makes me a little iffy on him was Zach Ertz still being there. I wish that the Eagles would have actually moved him like he wanted and the team wanted to do instead of keeping him around. And then following that, I think I'm going to go with Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard. Dallas has said they're going to utilize him a little more, and he's one of them premier handcuffs to where if anything with Zeke happens, he goes down for a couple weeks. You have an RB1 upside player on your bench and you don't have to go to the waiver wire and use all your fab or your waiver priority to pick him up.
Well,
understood.
And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this to my guy Tyler again, and I'm going to take a second tight end, and I'm going to take Tanyan from the Packers.
All right.
I think he really is going low. He did that last night too. The guy showed he's a stud last year.
So after the Tanyan pick, we had Tyler Higbee, Jamal Williams, Mike Gesicki, Blake Jarwin, and Hunter Henry. So it's just been tight end heavy since Space's pick there, and it's back to me.
Dead air. Well, Tyler's looking.
With this pick, I'm going to go ahead and go with Kenyon Drake.
Should steal some receiving work from Josh Jacobs out of that backfield.
So after my pick there, it was Marvin Jones, Corey Davis, Russell Gage, A.J. Dillon, Naheem Hines, and Giovanni Bernard. And then I'm back on the clock again here. In this position, I'm going to go with Irv Smith Jr. From Minnesota. I do think he's going to see some utilization this season with their retooled offense. So,
I like Irv Smith this year, especially with Kyle Rudolph out of there. All right, following Irv Smith, we had James White, J.D. McKissick, Gus Edwards, Darnell Mooney, and Latavius Murray. And it's to Space now.
Well, you know what? I always like this kid. We don't know. Somebody's got to do something on the Texans, even though it's possible they go 0-16. But I'm going to put my faith and my running back legs in the hands of Lindsey. I really have liked him, and we'll see what he does for the Texans. Somebody's got to do something for the Texans.
Oh, man. All right, so after Phillip Lindsay went, Alexander Madison went. If anybody has ever played fantasy football with me, they know every single one of my teams I always draft Alexander Madison because it's just the health concerns around Dalvin Cook. You plug Alexander Madison into that offense, they got almost the same skill set. He's not as good as Cook, obviously, because he's the backup. But again, just like my pick with Pollard, he has immediate RB1.
Hey guys, aren't I right? Look at team number 5. Didn't James White retire?
I don't believe so. I believe he's back with New England. Let me go see.
I thought I saw that he retired. Doesn't matter. None of us picked him, and I don't care. I hope team 5. But I think he retired.
James White officially received 1-year contract from Patriots. He signed a 1-year, $2.5 million contract.
So he retired and then signed a 1-year contract. Okay.
All right. So now with me on the clock, Alexander Madison went right in front of me, got sniped. I'm going to finally take my quarterback in Jalen Hurts. And then following
Hurts
that,
so good.
following
Come on,
that,
baby.
I am
hurts so
going
good.
to. I'm going to follow it up with Elijah Moore right after that.
Okay. Interesting to note that you were the last one to take a quarterback here, Tyler, and I almost feel that I took Tannehill a little too early, but hindsight's 20/20. After your Elijah Moore pick, we had Rashad Penny from Seattle go, and now Space is back on the clock.
All right. You know, all this shows, and this is just me, this shows if you can adjust right now for people who haven't drafted yet, this shows the value of why I don't think any league should be more than a 10-man league. Especially when we get into COVID protocol and everything else. So I think I'm going to take Mac from the Colts just in case. What the hell?
Okay, so after Mac, Tariq Cohen for Chicago went, which I'm a little disappointed with. I was going to try to snag him in the last round. Kenneth Gainwell, Tevin Coleman, Smith from New England, and Xavier Jones from the Rams, which puts me back on the clock. And a guy that I'm surprised is still here in the second to last round is Devontae Parker, and I'm going to snag him right away without hesitation. So after my Devontae Parker pick, Joe Burrow went, AJ Green, Matt Ryan, Cole Beasley, Darrell Williams, and then Evan Ingram, which puts me back to my last pick. And because this is a mock and this isn't the team that I have to go with, I am going to be a homer, and with my last pick, I'm going to draft Justin Fields.
All right. Nice little upside
pick. Great pick.
All right. After Fields, we had Savon Ahmed go, Chuba Hubbard, Cole Kmet, Traquan Smith, Gronk, and Spaces on the clock.
Is this my last pick of the draft?
That is the last pick.
Okay. By the way, when you look at this round, it's interesting. Cole Beasley is a stud, I think. I really do like Ingram this year. I love Fields. Kmet's going to have a great year. Traquan might be the number one wide receiver for the Saints all year.
Yeah.
So with Traquan Smith, I like Traquan. He's free in drafts. You see he went in the last round. So with Traquan Smith, the issue why it never clicked so far in New Orleans, well, it might not be the only reason, but one of the reasons is what Traquan Smith does great, Drew Brees wasn't able to do. Traquan Smith is more of a field stretcher. He's a downfield guy.
Right.
And we saw the last couple of years with with Drew Brees, he couldn't push the ball down the field.
But Jameis can.
Oh, yeah.
Famous Jameis.
Famous Jameis.
You know what? Speaking of Hurts from Philadelphia, he's got to throw the ball to somebody that's not a tight end. I'm going Rieger.
Okay. All right. Following Jalen Rieger, we had
Damian Williams from Chicago.
All right.
That surprises me a little bit there. I would have thought he'd go undrafted, but this is why we do these things.
Yep.
All right. So I'm on the clock, Mr. Irrelevant here, last pick of the draft.
You're never irrelevant to us.
My favorite tight end sleeper this year. I know I got Kelsey in the first, or no, I didn't take Kelsey in this one. I got Goddard. Well, to shore that up, my favorite tight end sleeper this year is Adam Troutman. Somebody's got to catch the ball from famous Jameis. It's not going to be not just going to be Alvin Kamara catching 20 passes out of the backfield a game. Somebody's going to have to step up and do something. All right, so we have our stuff. So we have our
So
draft.
you got a
grades,
B
too.
plus.
I got a B
Tarbill-
plus.
Tarbill got a B plus on his draft grade. I got an A. I got a 95 out of 100. What did
I
you
bet
get
you I
over
got
there,
a
Space?
D.
What'd you get? It should
What?
show up for you. Oh, I got
Not
you right
seeing it.
here. All right, so my team, just based on the draft rankings and all that. Obviously, this is all based off projections. We
Right.
don't know what's going to happen, but I won the mock draft. I have the best team according to them. Number 2 was Team 3. Number 3 was Team 1. Number 4 was Tarbill. Tarbill finished 4th here. Then it was Team 8, and Space, he got the 6th best team based off of Fantasy Pros.
I can't believe I was that high. You know what? But that's what makes this fun. But I'm telling you, and you see it here, if you're in a 10-man league instead of 12, I think everything works a heck of a lot better. I don't know what
Absolutely.
happened to me, but there we go. I got to go take a shower, guys. This 2 drafts in 12 hours has killed me. Has killed me. So I wish you all health and happiness, and good luck on any drafts this week. And go Packers for DaMouse. We'll see you guys next week.
All
Take
right,
care, everybody.
Talk to you guys
Take care,
later.
guys. Bye-bye.